Chairwoman Maloney's primary election for her to be declared the winner? Was that your guys' fault?
I'm not filled with the details, but I know it took a long time.
But I'm asking, but that wasn't your fault, was it? It was the Board of Elections.
No.
Right. Was it the Postal Service's fault that New Jersey was still counting ballots 4 weeks after the primary election last month?
No, sir.
How about the Democrats' Iowa caucuses? Was that the post office's fault that we didn't know who won the Democrat? I don't know if we still figured out who won the Democrat Iowa caucus. Was that the post office's fault?
No, sir.
So just a couple facts. I want to just be clear. You got $14 billion cash on hand. You got a $10 billion line of credit. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And changing out the sorting machines and removing and changing out mail collection boxes is nothing different than's happened before. Right? Every postmaster general, every year we do those sort of things. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so there's no different. In fact, what was the number? I think between 2011 and 2016, it's like 12,000 mail collection boxes that were removed, changed out by the Obama-Biden administration. Is that right?
It was a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot. And you didn't order a reduction in overtime or reduction in hours. I think you testified that earlier.
I did not.
So why are these guys out to get you? What is it?
I don't, they have their own concerns. I assume they're legitimate with them. And
well, you assume they're legitimate? Why are they out to get you? I mean, Mr. DeJoy, they've had people protesting at your house last night. They've been doing it for weeks. 90-some of these people have already called for you to resign. They passed the bill before they even talked to you, before they even had a hearing. They're not interested in a bipartisan solution, as evidenced by the fact the chairwoman wouldn't even contact the White House chief of staff, who had a bill that he worked on with the previous chairman, the late Chairman Cummings, a bipartisan bill to address concerns at the post office. So I'm asking you, why are they after you? First of all, you were appointed by the Board of Governors, right?
I was appointed by unanimous appointment by a bipartisan Board of Governors.
Unanimous vote. Bipartisan, not all Republicans. Democrats thought you were the right guy for the job, right?
Yes, sir.
So why are they out to get you?
I have no idea. I do have a lot of support out there amongst the employees and people in America, though. I receive it every day.
You got an amazing record in business. You got an amazing history of community service. You help kids with their education. You serve your community, serve our country, and these people are out to get you. When all the facts, none of the facts, as the Wall Street Journal said, this is one giant conspiracy from the Democrats. I just want to know what could be their reason. What could it be, Mr. DeJoy? We know it's not based on the facts. What could it be? Might it be politics? Might it be? Might it be the election coming up? Might it be the fact that they actually want to wait and count votes after Election Day? Maybe they want 6 weeks after the election. Maybe they want to be counting votes 6 weeks after the election, the presidential election, the biggest election we're going to have. Maybe they want to be counting votes 6 weeks after, like they did in the chairwoman's race, or 4 weeks after, like they did in New Jersey. Or maybe they want to wait forever, like they did in the Democrat Iowa caucuses. Might that be the reason? The chaos and confusion that we saw with all three of those elections. Maybe that's what they want. Could that be the reason, Mr. DeJoy?
I don't know what motivates people to have different opinions of me.
Well, they've called you all kinds of names today already. Protesting outside your house. They were there last night, weren't they?
Yes, sir.
Banging pots and pans outside your house, disrupting your neighbors, disrupting you. Mm-hmm. When the facts, as you've testified, are not anything close to what they've been saying for the last 3 weeks, what they said Saturday on the House floor. We know what this is about. We all know what this is about. This is about these guys wanting chaos and confusion because I think they know this. I think they know on election night President Trump's going to win. They know on election day, the vote count on election day, President Trump's going to win. And they want to keep counting. 6 weeks, 4 weeks, Iowa caucus, whenever. I don't know when they decided that one. I still don't know if they've declared a winner. I don't know if it was Bernie or Biden or whoever was running then. That's what they want. And they're willing to go after a guy like you who has served our country, served his community, helps kids with their education, amazing record in business. They're willing to go after you, and you've been on the job 70 days, and everything you've testified is nothing new that's been done by, same thing's been done by other postmaster generals, and yet they're coming after you because that's how much they want to get this president. It's disgusting. And we all know what's going on. And the fact that you know it too, you won't say it, I think that shows your character as well, but I'll say it because it's the truth. and the American people understand it and see right through it. I yield back.
The gentleman back, Congressman Krishnawarthy. You're now recognized.
Good morning, Mr. DeJoy.
Good morning.
Before becoming Postmaster General, I believe you appropriately resigned from being the finance chair for the Republican National Convention, correct?
I did, sir.
And I say you appropriately resigned because even in your written testimony, you said we should keep the nonpartisan tradition of the USPS, and in this case, occupying a high-level political post. At the same time, you'd be occupying a high-level USPS post would create at the least appearance problems, if not more, right?
Yes, sir. I also think I couldn't hold both positions.
Yes, sir. Mr. Duncan, are you on the line, sir? Mr. Duncan?
Yes, Congressman.
Yes, sir. As chairman of the board, you are one of the highest-ranking officials at the USPS, correct?
As chairman of the board, I am a member of a part-time board that is Senate confirmed.
But you're the chair of the board. You're the highest-ranking official at the USPS. I'd like to point out that you are also on the board of two Republican super PACs, namely the Senate Leadership Fund and American Crossroads, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I just went to the USPS website, sir, and I looked at your bio, and I'd be remiss if I didn't point out on your official government bio at the USPS website, you said, as RNC chairman, he, namely you, raised an unprecedented $428 million and grew the donor base to 1 million, a record at the time. This is on your official government USPS bio. Mr. Duncan, I have a couple other questions for you. In your written testimony, you mentioned that an outside research firm called Russell Reynolds Associates was contracted to find the quote-unquote best person for the job of Postmaster General, correct?
Correct.
You further noted in your testimony that Russell Reynolds reviewed 212 candidates, and then they narrowed the search to 53 after they reviewed those people's bios and backgrounds, and they vetted them, correct?
Yes, sir.
And interestingly, according to David Williams, the former vice chairman of the board, the former inspector general for 13 years at the USPS, as well as a published report over the weekend, Mr. DeJoy was not among the 53 presented to the board. Either one, Russell Reynolds considered Mr. DeJoy and decided there were 53 better candidates than him, or Mr. DeJoy was not considered by Russell Reynolds at all before presenting the 53 finalists. Which was it, Mr. Duncan?
We were still in the process of developing the pool before we had our first round interviews at that point.
I understand. You're talking about the first round interviews, the round of 14. But you don't dispute, obviously, in your answer, that Mr. DeJoy did not make the initial cut of 53 finalists presented to the board, but he was inserted into the round of 14, not by merit, by his connections. It would be the same as an NCAA team not making the round of 64, but then swooping into the round of the Sweet 16. And that's what happened here. So let me ask you this question. Mr. Williams repeatedly asked the board to do a background check on Mr. DeJoy by the Postal Inspection Service. Do you know what the Postal Inspection Service is, sir?
Yes, sir.
And you and the board refused to do that background check. And that was not shared with the board before they voted. Now let me turn to my final set of questions here. Mr. Duncan, you were once quoted in a Republican fundraising letter saying, quote, the Obama-Biden Democrats and their liberal special interest allies are trying to steal their election victories from Republicans. I assume you still believe that about Joe Biden and the Democrats, sir?
I have no knowledge of that.
Yes,
letter.
It's in the CNN article that quotes you directly right here. And then we have another article from the Las Vegas Sun. It says, Again, you wrote in a letter, Democrats will soon be trying to pad their totals at ballot boxes across the country with votes from voters that do not exist. Do you still believe that to be the case, Mr. Duncan?
What are the dates of these letters?
This article is from the Las Vegas Sun from 2008. Do you still believe this,
Yes, sir.
this sentiment?
No, I don't believe anyone at this point who is a nominee of the major parties is trying to steal an election.
Thank you. That would be in contravention of what the president said in a tweet on August 20th. They are trying to steal this election, the Democrats.
And, you know, some people said the other day, I read something, well, you know, Trump has these things and he's got all. You don't understand one thing. If somebody else, let's assume somebody else took this position because we're leading by a lot. I mean, I'd have to work really hard to blow this one. Even the fake news knows that. They actually. But let's assume somebody else took this position. They'd go after them just as tough or tougher. They're crooked people. They fake dossier. All of the fake stuff, they spied on my campaign. These are crooked people. These are sick people. And they will do the same thing to whoever it may be. And people say, I'm going for Trump because he's the only one we know that can take it. And there's truth to that. Even you might admit that, Carolyn, right? No, but no matter who it is, you could take the most innocent candidate. He'll say, oh, thank you, this is such a great honor. 2 days later, remember when I was first elected, not a day had gone by. I think it was about an hour after that, we will be impeaching him. And they said, for what? We don't know yet, but we'll figure something. They ended up impeaching me over a perfect phone call. Congratulations on winning. That was a call to Ukraine. And when they asked Zelensky, which I respect, I tell you what, I get along with him, get along with Putin. I'd have that war. It would have never happened under me. Never, ever, would have never happened. But I'll have that war settled in 24 hours. And it won't even be a tough one by comparison to other things. But it's, it's pretty amazing when you look at the things that we've done, and we've done them together. And this has been an incredible state with incredible love. People like Steve, who I've known so long, but just incredible love with new fans and new people that have really come to the fore, and we appreciate it, Carolyn. Every